and you are. We are citizen Outbreak. Welcome to the podcast.
Welcome back, everyone. Matthew, how are you?
Rudy, I'm cold, man.
I know it's cold now in New York. We are in New York, and it's what are they calling it? Polar vortex that came in.
It's cold everywhere. You know, I think it was like 40 degrees this morning in Miami too. But
Oh yeah, I saw that it was cold. The iguanas were falling off the trees.
Were they? Yeah, I see. Yeah, when they get cold. But New York is cold, bro. It dropped. I was out early this morning.
Yeah.
So I feel like it got colder and colder.
It's colder and colder. It's windy also, and tomorrow it's going to be cold, but then it's going to pick up a little. But listen, we're in the middle of November, and
yeah, it's not. It's supposed to be. We're on.
Yeah, this is what's happening. I mean, you know, New York now, East Coast, we go summer straight into winter, and winter straight into summer. We don't have a fall, and we don't have a spring.
I mean, I think New York weather from like, I was gone June, July, August, really through yesterday, I think was just an amazing run of weather. But I like the change of seasons anyway. So
yeah, I like the change of season too. You know, today it was yesterday. Today I'm driving down on the Palisades, and I see, you know, the trees are all turning different colors, and it's nice. You know, my body doesn't do well with the cold.
Today I feel it like my bones.
Yeah, I think before we started recording, I was telling you I was in the gym lifting weights, and I just my body just don't feel good, and I'm still coming off. What many of you don't know is we actually taped an episode last week while Matthew was stuck in the airport, and my sound didn't come through. So we did an hour of taping and no sound, and I don't understand why my sound didn't come through, but it was, and nothing was coming out. We just had the video. And
we got rid of that producer.
We hired the producer. She's gone.
No
more.
The cold thing, you know what bugs me? It's like you wake up and you look at the app. Okay, so right now when you look at it, it says 39 degrees. Okay, but the feel is 23.
Right, well, that's called the windshield factor.
Okay, my man. That's a big spread, right? So
yeah, I look at the windshield factor.
Right, but I get it. But what do I need the 39 for?
Well, let me tell you something. I know we were both away, but I just came back from Tucson, Arizona. I was there visiting University of Arizona, where I spent many years going to college. My daughter, who's a junior, she's looking at the college, thinking maybe it's a possibility to go there. It's brick cold in the desert. And I don't remember when I was going there that it was this cold. And I was talking to my buddy that was with me out there, and I was like, I don't remember it being this cold. I don't even remember having a jacket out there. But I woke up in the morning, and I would wake up really early, and I'd go outside for a coffee. It was 55, 57 degrees.
On the feel or
No, the temperature, and you walk out, and it's dry. So there's no wind, you know, it's not a windshield factor like we have here, but
but I walk outside. I looked like this morning it said something like 52.
Right, but 55 at 7 in the morning, 55 at 8 in the morning, 60 at 9, 85 right after that. So you're walking around in a hoodie or a sweatshirt, and it's brick, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh my God, I can't breathe. It's 85 degrees. And then again, 6:30, boom, it drops from 85. It's not a slow drop or a slow climb. It's like fast. And it's because it's the desert.
That's why all those Burning Man people have to bring so much stuff, because in the daytime it's hot. At night.
That's right. That's right. But I don't remember when I was going to school at the U of A that it dropped down like that. I don't remember.
You were drinking pretty heavily.
I didn't drink that much in college, believe it or not. I was working more. I wasn't really allowed to drink that much. But speaking of traveling, like what we were discussing before when we did tape, you were stuck, and this was before, you know, the whole traffic in the air mess.
Yes.
Right? And you were delayed in Miami when we were taping last time, and you were delayed for how long was it?
I ended up not having anything. I was delayed like an hour.
All right,
Mine
so
wasn't bad.
I flew
Mine
out
was
last
actually within the
Wednesday.
context of what I'm, now commercial. It was pretty good.
All right, so I flew out last Wednesday. Didn't have no problems whatsoever. Newark, Phoenix, Tucson, no problem. But they started announcing on Thursday that starting Friday that there would be many flights either grounded, cancellations, and the government basically wanted them to not fly, the airlines not flying as many planes. So I started to get nervous. My flight out of Tucson on Sunday was Tucson, Phoenix, Newark, 2 p.m. Tucson time. We're 2 hours behind. So I started freaking out. So I called American Airlines. I'm like, you got to change my flight. So I got on early because, early is good. It's pretty good. Early flights are better. You're not, if you go later, you're going to be, once they start doing the delays, you're kind of in the queue. So if you're at 2 o'clock, you're not flying out till later. So I thought 7 a.m. is
Plus,
a good
the
opportunity.
plane. It's not if you're early, your plane's there and you can go.
Your
If
plane
you're
is there. You're ready.
late, you're waiting for your plane to get there too. So you're hung up on two different sides.
Exactly. So it's all messed up. It becomes messed up. So I thought 7 o'clock. If we leave 7 o'clock, Tucson, I have to change it to go to but it's fine. We're on New York
No,
time.
I get but for Mosh.
Yeah, she's okay. She woke up early. 7 o'clock. We get to Tucson Airport, and we're flying to Dallas, not Phoenix. Tucson, Dallas, Newark. Okay.
Newark's the worst.
We get to the airport. I'm checking on the app. Like everything's fine. No delays, nothing. But meanwhile, I'm on X. You see delays, people, TSA. There's a line at TSA. We get to the airport early. Got to drop off the car. The guy from American Airlines said, you got to get early. TSA is going to be a mess. There's going to be wait. No wait. Zero line. Get right through. We're sitting there. Everything's fine. We take off on time. 1 hour into the flight from Tucson to Dallas, I get an email. Flight's canceled.
Yeah.
So now I'm like, what the hell am I going to do? I'm in the air. I don't have a flight. What am I going to stay in Dallas? I got to get back to she's got school. I got work. We got the family here. It's annoying. You know how much I hate flying. You know how much I hate traveling, and I do it a lot, and it's always a pain. We always talk about it on here, how horrible flying has become and how they treat you, everything. So I get this cancellation in midair. I text my wife because I have Wi-Fi. I paid for the Wi-Fi, which they double charged me, Matthew. I got the charge back today, but they double charged me for my Wi-Fi. And I said to her, call American Express Travel and have them rebook me on something. I don't care. Anywhere in New York. Just not like Islip, Long Island. I don't go there. But anywhere in New York. Get me on that flight. So and I overpaid, by the way. From Dallas to LaGuardia, Delta, 7:30 at night. Okay? Dallas time. Dallas is an hour behind New York. Now, we're landing at 10 o'clock. So from 10 o'clock to 7:30, I have to wait in the airport. And I'm like, all right, well, at least we're going to fly. But then, remember what I said. The later your flight, the more chance of you getting delayed. At this point, we're in rolling cancellations. Rolling cancellations of flights.
Yeah.
And you see it. Again, I'm on X. Meanwhile, all these poor saps that are sitting on my plane, most of them have connecting flights.
That's a long layover.
That's a long layover, right? So we land, and I never did anything with my American Airlines flight. Remember, that was canceled, but they emailed me that they put me on another flight for Monday. This is Sunday. They put me on for Monday afternoon. I'm not staying there till Monday, but I didn't want to cancel just in case, just in case. So we get off the plane, and have you been to Dallas Airport, Matthew?
Yeah.
It's a shithole.
It is a shithole, yeah.
It's like LaGuardia a couple years ago when LaGuardia was terrible. I mean,
the only thing that's good is that you can go. Well, it didn't affect you. You were landing. You were just in the airport already. Because when you're going there from Dallas, you go right to your gate. When you don't. Anyway.
Well, the airport is huge. It's got like A, B, C, D, E terminals. I don't know if there's an F, but we landed in I think A or B, no, B, or A or B, and we need to go to E at this point because that's where Delta was coming off. So A, I think, is mostly, or whatever we were, A or B, there's more American Airlines. So when we get off the plane, I'm like, let's go look at the, when all the flights, all the flights, they say
The
all the
board.
flights. Yeah, the board. It's like cancel, 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 cancel. And I'm like,
And it's such a nervous feeling too, like in the atmosphere at the airports when this shit's going on.
yeah, everyone's freaking out. And I'm
People are
looking
rushing.
and I'm like,
You can feel the tension. It's a shitty vibe.
yeah, and nobody knows what's going on. Nope, there's no one to talk to. No one to talk to.
Yeah.
But I see on the board, and I'm like, all right, Newark, cancel. Oh, I see 2 flights LaGuardia, American Airlines, leaving at 1:00. Let me go over. So I see this woman, and she's like, "Can I help you? I wanted. Is there room on this flight?" She goes, "I have no idea. I don't work here." She works for the airport. She doesn't work for American Airlines. She sends me to American Airlines, and this woman was so nasty in American Airlines.
Yeah.
She basically laughed in my face and said, "No, there's no room." I said, "You have room. There's like jump seats, that they save for emergencies and for, for crew. And it's always open." "No, I don't have anything." "Okay, what do you have next?" She goes, "We don't have anything. It's all booked." I'm like, "All right, fuck you." And I said, "Fuck you." It's not nice, but she was treating me like a peasant. I'm not a peasant. I had first class seats.
Well, you're lucky. They have during COVID they were given like absolute power. She could have gotten you on the no fly list.
Oh, maybe.
I was on the no fly list
Wait,
for 24
hold on a
hours.
second. I never gave her my information. She didn't know who I was.
I'm just if she worked for the airline, they've been empowered.
Yeah, powered my ass. Anyway, so we get on the tram because you have to go from gate C all the way down to E. We're on the tram. We get off at E, and I do the same thing. I get to the board, and I go, LaGuardia. All right. E14. Let's walk over there. Walk up there, and this gate agent is there, and she's all stressed out. Plane's leaving at 12:30. It's at this point it's 11:30, I think. And I go, "Your hair is so nice."
Yeah.
Come in with a compliment,
Always.
And she says, "Oh, thank you. I just had it done," and everything unsavory type of looking person. I said, "Do you have 2 seats?" And she says, "No, the plane is completely booked. It's full." I'm like, "Listen, my daughter over there, she's got school in the morning. I got work. And I told her the whole sob story, and she's like, "I've heard it already a million times." I'm like, "Do me a favor, just look." She goes, "Let me see your tickets." So I give her my tickets, and I had it on my iPhone, so I just hand it over. She goes, "All right." Took my confirmation code. She goes, let me call supervisor. So she goes, "Stand over there." So I go stand. She calls me over. She goes, "You have 2 first class tickets. We don't have any first class." I'm like, "I don't care if you put me in the cargo. I just want to get home. I'm sick and I don't want to sit here in 30, possibly get canceled. Then I have to fly tomorrow. I'm tired. We got a long day." And it wasn't even a long day at this point. It was just short. Plane's leaving. Supervisor comes back. She goes, I have 1 seat in first class, 1 seat in the back." I'm like, "Perfect. We'll take it." He goes, "All right, but we have to do the difference." And I'm like, "I don't care. Difference."
So what time did you get on?
So as soon as she put me on, the flight was about to take off in 15 minutes, like boarding. As soon as she put me in, she goes, "All right, you're all set." I look behind her. It changes. It's delayed. And I'm like, "Ugh, no." And I'm like, "Well, there that goes that." And she goes, "What?" And she turns around. She goes, "Oh, we're delayed." And you could tell she's getting nervous. She's like, "Oh my God, rolling cancellations. Rolling cancellations." And I'm like, "No." She's like, I think we're okay. I think we're okay. 2:30. So we went 2-hour delay. So we go sit down.
Right,
It's
so
now
you're on the flight.
No, we're on the flight, but we're not on the plane.
No, but you're on
We're
the
waiting.
flight.
We're waiting.
2:30 instead of 7:30.
So we 2:30, that's a big jump. If we take off.
Yeah. No.
1:30, we're sitting there. We're not boarding. 1:45, we're not boarding. 1:50, we're not boarding. She gets on. She goes, "The pilot doesn't want us to board. We're currently at a ground stop." All right. flight's at 2:30. You got to board soon. Well, I'm like thinking in my head, I'm like, well, it's a good thing that I have my flight for tomorrow because it doesn't look like we're flying. 2:15, I see her go to the back to, down the jetway. She went somewhere. She spoke to someone. She comes back, and you could tell she's in a good mood. You could tell. She gets on the thing, and she goes, "All right, we're gonna start boarding in 5 minutes." And she gets in the whole thing. So we board. We get on the plane, and in record time, Matthew, everybody's on the plane. I've never seen this many people get on a plane so quickly. They close at 2:25. 2:30, we pull off.
So you had a good
we don't
story.
take off. No, wait.
What?
And we don't take off.
What happened next?
And then the guy next to me says, well, doesn't look like we're taking off. 15 minutes go by. Now we're like standing on the tarmac, ready to take off. But there's a line of planes. You look to the left, out the window, and there's a line of planes. Nobody's moving. Not one plane is moving.
Oh, I hate that
But
feeling.
some kind of miracle, the guy gets on and says, Don't worry, we're taking off. So I'm like, all right. He said, I
Cut the line?
He didn't cut the line, but we ended up taking off at like 3 something. We were delayed about an hour, to get to LaGuardia, but still it wasn't 7:30.
No,
Still got in, and we got in.
You had a story.
I spoke to several of my friends that were traveling because I know, like in New Jersey, the kids have off for and that's not parent-teacher conference. It's like some kind of teacher with the school conference. They have off, so a lot of people are away. I know people. Today's Tuesday. I know people that still have not got home. A friend of mine was stuck in Puerto Rico for 36 hours. Another friend of mine is still stuck in Denver. And there's a ton of people that are stuck in Miami, West Palm Beach Airport, JSX, that plane that you like to take, the semi-private plane. Those aren't flying. It's not. They grounded private planes.
You love telling me that.
What's that?
About JSX.
I love JSX. It's great. I think JSX is amazing, but they
know,
grounded it.
If I can, because I want to also hear, you had an interesting conversation, and then I don't know if Instagram does listen, but then I saw some slides and I looked up some of the stuff you were telling, and I think we got to get into that. But
Matthew,
I just want to say,
yes.
I just want to say, reviewing what your story was, right? You had a pretty good outcome against even your sample of, like, I don't know how handful of friends that are still stuck or were stuck longer. And the difference is you acted decisively and early.
Right. If I didn't go up to the gate and schmooze, I'd be sitting there until Tuesday.
There's a few things that happen, right? And you can see them in these situations. So I talked about, like, you saw it on the email when you were on the plane. There are those people, right, like, that look to be part of the community, that start talking to their neighbors, like, hey, what this is. They want to be like the newscaster. They want to be like, Cronkite on the airplane, like, hey, we're delayed, and this is what's going to happen now. And they start, like, trying to, like, talk about it, and then, like, get that whole collective team thing going. You got to get away from that, right? Because they're all like, they just want somebody to bitch at, and, like, then there's those people that want to pretend like they have the latest intel, and get part of it. You got to be quiet, and you got to be decisive and go after your own stuff. So you got on the plane, you were on the plane, and you emailed your wife right away. You got action going, and you had a plan when you got off, and then you went. Now the next thing is, you had that one run in, you said fuck you, and you walked away. A lot of people then waste time getting into it and then looking for others, right? Like, get into it with the lady behind the desk, and then they'll be like, Joe Smith over here, and you'll be like, hey, you see what she's doing? And then, like, everybody starts to, you got to just keep your head down and stay focused.
Right.
And
you
make
can't
decisions
waste time.
fast.
You can't lose time arguing with people. You got to cut your losses and move
Because
along quickly.
Seats, like, you got that 1 and 2 seat. If you delay any part of your process, those are gone.
Oh, yeah, because behind me was several other people trying to do what I was doing.
There are people, instead of doing what you did, they call their wife to bitch. You got to act so fast and decisively in these moments, and that's why you got home. I'm just saying these are good case studies. You got
Yeah, listen, for anybody who's out there, when you're bitching at these people, you're losing time. You need to come in nice, come in quick. Try and if they tell you no more than 3 times, cut your losses, leave, go to the next one. But
yeah, but then it's also like you're sitting there, and then like this guy over there is talking, and they're talking, and then you don't get focused on what you're doing. Oh wait, there's a flight over there. Oh, you mean you're going there? Wait, you heard? Oh wait, I heard that this is. Everybody wants to talk shit like they're breaking news. You just want to do your own thing.
Right.
Forget the crowd, because the crowd shit is delay. All that bullshit about them trying to just go your own route. And like what happened with you, you got on, even from the original thing was a massive time save.
Right. Massive time. But my advice, if this happens to anybody in the future, your plane is canceled, your plane is delayed, do not go to the airline help desk.
Oh no, never.
Never.
That's rookie shit.
If you're in the gate area, find the plane going to some area where you're going. If you're going to LA, LAX, Burbank, Long Beach, if you're going to Florida and you're in the South, Miami, Fort Lauderdale, West Palm, New York, LaGuardia, JFK, Westchester, Newark, go for the gate.
Yeah.
And speak to the gate agent.
The truth is,
because they have seats available. They always have seats available.
No. And people go to the help desk. That, like you said, you identified. That's something where you get an advantage over those people, because they're going to stand in line.
You stand in line. You
got to just move it. You got to just go right to the source, to the gate. You find out where they are, and you just go for it.
Right. And then you know what? A lot of other people I've noticed, and I had this whole issue, is they start looking online, like while they're in the air. Okay, what am I going to do? But here's the problem, Matthew. When you're flying same day, those flights are not popping up on your search through the airline or through Expedia or any of these flights.
The software is so bad. Like
when there's a certain amount of hours, they take them off.
No,
they don't have them on there.
The software is so bad that the airlines use. You have to really get proactive. You have to, you can get somebody on the phone while you're walking to the gate, but you got to go to the source. The shit that, and it's funny during these things, like there's always that guy that start trying to be the newsbreaker out of the group, and then people start talking. Oh wait, nobody knows shit. You know what I mean? Like the person over there might have a refresh on his X faster than you or something, but nobody knows. You got to act on your own, and you don't need any consensus. You don't need any help. It's every man for themselves in that situation.
Absolutely. And then you have those people that are sitting there and they're documenting everything, like, the Instagram, TikTok people, like, I'm on the plane and we were delayed, or the flight is, and can you believe that this is happening? And I blame the government, and the government shut down, and now I'm stuck.
They want to bitch.
Listen, I want to bitch too. I'm bitching to you, and I'm
texting but to you. You can bitch now, bitch after.
Yeah, of course.
In the moment,
you got to be decisive. You got to be.
If you want to get home, you got to
get home,
and you got to be decisive. I was once in Indianapolis when I actually went for the game conference. Remember the Gen Con thing that I went to, and that was like on the just still during the COVID stuff. They started rolling flights. I looked at the lady. I said, I went downstairs. I got the last car, and I drove 14 hours to get home, because I knew, you just got. And if I hadn't moved when I did, there would have been no cars left. They don't tell you. Gotta make your move.
That's like planes, trains, and automobiles.
Yeah, but I made it. I drove straight 14 hours, and it was a funny ride. But you gotta make your move fast alone.
Or can't come Home Alone. Sheboygan. And she gets into she's stuck in I forgot what airport, and they're going with John Candy, and he's like,
we're going to Sheboygan.
We're going to Sheboygan. You could come with us. We rented a U-Haul. And she's like, all right. And then she gets to Chicago, and her family already lands 3 days later from Paris.
Right.
But
I love that movie.
It's amazing. And you know what? The holidays are right around the corner. So
I know. I got.
a
Like I
great,
said,
it's a great
I
holiday
saw it.
movie, Home Alone.
But talk about some of the stuff you were talking about with the pilot friend of yours, because it's now they had a press conference and they've been talking about it. But
Right.
you had an
So,
interesting conversation.
so the interesting thing is on the way to Tucson, again, we flew through Phoenix. From Phoenix to Tucson, it's about a 30-minute flight, and we got separated by seats. So my daughter was sitting 2 rows in front of me, and I happened to sit next to this gentleman who was wearing a pilot's uniform. So, I turned to him and I said, "So are you a pilot?" And he
Yeah.
says, "Yes, I'm a pilot." And I said, "Oh, with American Airlines?" And he says, "No, I fly with NetJets. NetJets does the private planes. You buy hours and you fly, or you
Yeah.
order
Exactly.
order the plane." So we start talking, and again, it's a 30-minute, 20-minute flight, so you got to kind of hop in there. But let me tell you something. After talking to him, can you see me?
Yeah, I can see it perfect.
Sorry, I thought I pressed the button by accident. So after asking him about being a pilot, and him telling me all this stuff that I'm going to get into it right now, I kind of don't want to fly, period, ever again. But
Yeah.
you and I both fly a lot. So that's not a thing. But anyway, Matthew, so here's what he told me. I asked him, I went into it. I said, "Do you think this shutdown, the government shutdown, is going to be an issue?" And he said, "Listen, this government shutdown is going to be an issue, but besides the government shutdown being an issue, we have a bigger problem."
What's the problem?
And the bigger problem is there's about 5,000 FAA tower controllers retiring. Now, I don't remember if he said a year or 5,000 retiring. In the pipeline, there's only 1,500 coming out. So we already were short controllers. So what does a controller do? Those are the people that you see in the movies. Right. They sit in the towers. They see the little things on the screen. The plane is going here, and they're managing the air traffic. Plane
It looks like a big Johnson.
Yeah. The plane is coming in over here. The plane is coming over there. Runway 1, runway 2. If you remember, another great Christmas movie,
Die Hard 2.
Die Hard 1. Is it Die Hard
2? Die Hard 2 is at
Die
the
Hard
airport.
2, you're right. Die Hard 2 in the airport is, "We just lost runway 3," or whatever it was.
Right. Well, I was referencing Austin Powers before.
Yeah, but this is
It looks like a big Johnson.
it looks like a big Johnson. But anyway, so these airport controllers, the traffic controllers, are basically managing the traffic in the air.
Right.
Now, when you don't
Pushing
have
tin.
enough, if you don't have enough people watching the skies and the monitors, you have a problem. So now, a lot of people don't know this, but Philadelphia air traffic is controlling Newark and like another airport. So
And that's been going on for a while.
It's been going on for a while, but one guy is watching several airports, okay? The issue is these people are, number one, working before the shutdown. They're working overtime because we don't have enough people, and those people get tired. And the breaks are, I think the guy was telling me they get like 15-minute breaks. Now, a regular person gets tired, they need to eat, they need to rest. But a 15-minute break is nothing.
Well, they have FAA regulated timeouts. Like they're not allowed to be on the.
Yeah, those timeouts are out the window, Matthew.
Right, and that's what your guy is saying, right? That they're pushing them
he
along.
says those FAA those timeouts, those are out the window because we are short-staffed. Now, there was a certain administration before, and we're not going to finger point here, but the Biden administration and Pete Buttigieg, Mayor Pete, they basically kicked the can. And this pilot said, the previous administration, they had all the opportunity to fix this, but they decided to Band-Aid it. And the one Band-Aid that they did was they did this thing where the traffic controllers are doing different airports. That's one Band-Aid. Then the other Band-Aid is the technology that we're running at the airports is so outdated.
Yeah, I read that about on Newark.
it's ridiculously outdated that I think the fiber optics are even outdated, and if something goes out, which frequently does go out, that there's a big issue, right? So the number one thing is there's money coming through the pipeline. The big beautiful bill has money coming in. But we live in a bureaucracy, lobbyists, Democrats, Republicans, someone's getting paid to push something. The cousin gets the contract and they're pushing it through. And the $5 billion contract to do all the upgrades becomes a $10 billion contract, becomes a $20 billion contract, is pushed out to 4 or 5 years down the road. Number one, what happens when it's pushed out 5, 10 years down the road? There's new technology. And then they have to start the process all over. Then you have, he was telling me one airport, I'm going to give an example. It might not be the airport.
No, often, sorry, but they won't, because the way our government really works, you can't just cancel the contract once they're done, right? If they've committed, but they've pushed that down the road, we're getting the older generation installed.
Right, the older generation.
That lobbyist was paid by that company to go and make sure that senator put that in that bill.
Exactly.
And that senator is relying on support. So if I come in and I'm like, oh, let's get rid of this and let's go forward with the version 6, I'm going to get a phone call from that senator. I'm going to say, what the fuck do you think? You're not cutting this out. Right.
Exactly. So I'll give you an example of what kind of is going on also is you have, say, Newark. It's an example. It might not be the airport, but they just spent billions of dollars, this airport. We'll call it Airport A, Newark. And they have new technology. It's great. It's the new shiny thing. They just redid the airport. They have the new tower, shiny new. But guess what?
Yeah.
Houston, or Airport B, has the old stuff. And what happens when you have the new stuff and the old stuff?
They don't mix. It's apples and bowling balls, my friend.
Exactly. They don't talk to each other. So you have a problem, and then you need a patch.
Patch this.
Yeah. Patch this, right. So you have that problem. In addition to that, because we have not enough air traffic controllers, you have...
Talk about the lanes, Rudy.
That's where I'm going with this. I'm
Okay,
going with
good,
the lanes. When you fly...
I got to set you up here. Has anybody noticed that there's more turbulence nowadays when you fly, especially transatlantic?
So I
was on a transatlantic flight last year. 6 hours of it was just rock and roll, bro. Like,
right. So it's not just transatlantic. It's
everywhere.
It's everywhere. So in the past, Matthew. So let me go into it. After him telling me all this stuff about the problems with the government and the problems with the air traffic controllers and air traffic controllers during the government shutdown, which we'll get into our next topic, with them walking out because they're not getting paid and they need to go become an Uber driver because they don't have food to put on the table for their family and their kids. They're walking away. So we don't have that. And that's why you have these delays and cancellations. But I went into it after this. And again, this is a 30-minute flight. I went into turbulence. And I said to him, when I'm flying, there's been more turbulence than ever before. Flying, cross from New York to France, New York to London, everywhere. There's more turbulence. Going down to Florida, there's more turbulence. And I said to him, what's the story? And he goes, well, you don't have to be worried about the turbulence. I said, it doesn't matter. Mentally, I've been on, and I told him about all the bad flights I've had.
Yeah, you don't like flying.
And I hate flying. And I hate the whole process, and I hate the turbulence. And as soon as a little turbulence, I start to freak out. And, you heard about the lady who was flying from the flight attendant from Australia to, I think it was New York or something, and she had a bottle of vodka to calm her down. Yeah. I understand her. I get her. I understand her. I understand she needs to calm down. I get it. But I said to him, I said, what's the story? He said, well, when you hear the pilot and he comes on, and you've all heard it, we're hitting a little bit of turbulence. We're gonna climb up and try to get out of it. We're gonna find some air to glide us through. You've heard that before, right, Matthew?
Yeah, I've heard it.
Okay, so he says to me, well, we're not allowed to climb anymore. And I said, what do you mean? And he says, yeah, you have to, you got to eat shit for a while. You got to eat shit for a while. And I kept saying that you got to.
I ate shit for 6 hours, bro.
Yeah, you got to eat shit. And the pilots, they're not. The pilots are not happy. And normally you get the pilot comes on and says, this is only 30 minutes, 20 minutes, turbulence. Or sometimes, like we've talked about it, the pilot doesn't say anything anymore. They don't say anything. And the reason is because
They've got no update to give you.
they know that they're eating shit and they got to fucking, excuse
You
my
gotta
language.
eat shit. You just gotta eat shit.
They got to eat shit, but they're like getting nervous because they have to fly the plane. And even though some of these planes are on autopilot, they still have to maintain the turbulence, and they don't like to shake. They don't want everybody shaking, and it's not an enjoyable ride. So what is happening, Matthew? I'm going to tell you what's happening. When you fly in the air, there are, like on a highway, different lanes. And we have A through Z lanes, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And when you're taking off, the person, the traffic controller, has to tell you, okay, you're flying in lane B at number 3. And what does that mean is you have lanes A through Z and then 1 through 10 up and down. So it goes A through Z across, 1 through 10 up. And basically it's like a box, and these planes are flying in the box, and you're in your lane. You can't go out of your lane. So once the air traffic controller tells you, hey, Matthew, you're flying in B3, you got to stick in that.
Yeah.
Right? But in the past, what would happen is there wasn't A through Z. There wasn't 1 through 10. There was a third of that. And because we have less air traffic controllers, we need to fill up more lanes because they need to like get
No,
the
it's the
plane
invert.
going, you know?
Weren't we able to access more lanes with more planes, and now we're shoving more planes into tighter pockets?
We had less planes flying and more lanes for those planes.
Right, we had more. We were putting you in different lanes. Now we're keeping them in the we're keeping everybody in a tighter box.
It's a tighter box. There's more planes going at the same time. So, like, if you're in lane 3 and you want to get to you want to go up to lane 5, the plane wasn't there before. Now you're flying and there's a plane above you and there's a plane below you, so you can't.
So there's more planes up there now.
There's more planes, less lanes.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
Not only can you not climb up to get out, but sometimes they have you moving the lane. So they'll be like, "Oh, there's a plane in front of you. You have to go from lane 3 to 6," which you would think is a good thing, but your lane 3, you have enough fuel to get you to that spot. And when you start moving around, it starts messing things up. Also, when you're in a different lane, you can't avoid, the turbulence. I'm going to climb up. You can't climb up because there's another plane up there. There's also the jet coming from the plane in front of you. It's because they're closer. Before you had distance. Now there's a plane closer. There's all these variables, and it's not safe. It's not safe at all. I don't think it's safe. And it's becoming a problem. That's the story, Matthew.
I'm curious, let's see, last 20 years. Because when you start from like a long time ago when when air travel first came on, it was really reserved for rich people. I mean, it was very expensive to fly. It was business or wealthy people, right? They did a lot of things to make it more affordable. The experience certainly suffered, right? You went from them making you, all those pictures about hot stewardesses making you Caesar salad in the aisle to like, you asking for a pillow and them spitting on you. You know what I mean? And it's interesting because, just like the whole, I'm just, like the amount of, so like right here, real-time tracking, 2025, trend over, I want to look this up. Basically, yeah. I mean, the amount of planes that are traveling at a given time have yeah. Like, so from the 2000s to 2010s, it roughly doubled from like 6,000 planes at a given time in the air to 12 to 13,000. There was a big dip in COVID, but then, so it makes sense. I mean, there's just, there's a lot of planes up there.
So you have more planes and less traffic controllers.
Right.
And not only that, but some of these traffic controllers and the planes, like they're still calling up like, Bravo, blah, 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 and you got to write it. They write it down, and like if you get the number wrong, like say the girl saying number 3,333, and the pilot says it's not 3,000, it's 333, and you're off. Guess what? You're landing in the wrong town. You know what I mean? Like if that's how it is. And some of the planes have like, it's like it's up to date, so it's like electrical. Like they type it in, it comes up, but it's still human error. I think maybe with technology, maybe in 10 years, we'll see AI take over a lot of the air traffic controlling, hopefully, where there's not going to be human error, because there's definitely a lot of human error. And maybe that, I don't know, maybe God forbid, maybe we'll see bad stuff happen. But, there's more. Also, we see more and more accidents happening with flights. And it's not good. It's not good.
I mean, that you got like, have you seen the Ryanair guy who wants to put? They're going to do it. He said supposedly like the standing planes.
It's not going to happen.
Well, I think that one is going for it. And then they have other. Have you seen some of these designs? The layout where like there's the and it's pretty cool actually because we've used the same kind of layout forever. I mean, some of the layouts that they're showing, the concepts, I would it's nuts, right? You have like double deckers and the because I mean it's just such a challenging business model for the planes. But my only point was like because the flights are getting so expensive now too. It's like it's like I used to always be able to find really good flights. Right? Now it's like they're getting really expensive. You've got a big family.
I know. I got 6 people I got to fly with, and it's and you're right. It's very expensive. It gets more expensive, and when you're flying on the holidays, it's even more expensive.
But they're going to be rationalizing the amount of flights, and they're going to justify more. It's going to be interesting because it could really change I noticed during COVID is when I really started to notice people showing up in pajamas. People really like, you think about what people used to dress like on airplanes, and we talked about what people dress like now, but it's just like in terms of people, so many people are flying now. And now as they shrink back and as they're forecasting a lot shrink, the prices are going to go up. Services won't.
No, services decrease, prices go up. The lady says to me, we're flying, and, I was lucky enough to sit first class, and we get a meal, and you have like 3 choices. She comes up to me and she goes,
I don't eat on the planes. We talked about that.
Yeah, you don't eat on the planes, but I'm starving. There has nothing to eat in there. They had a 7-Eleven. It was disgusting.
7-Eleven in the gate?
Yeah, but I'm not eating one of those roller hot dogs.
No, get out of here. I'm not touching that.
But she goes, we got meatballs, and we got meatballs. So
meatballs.
Do you have chips? Give me a Bloody Mary.
How are the meatballs?
The meatballs, I was starving. I had one, and I was like, okay, give me more Bloody Mary.
You made them better.
The guy next to me devoured them.
Yeah, there are some people that go at it.
Do you want? Are you eating the rest of those meatballs?
Did you give him?
No, he didn't say that. I'm just kidding. Matthew, how did we come to this conversation? The government shutdown, which has been going on now for endless amount of days. Is it
over?
It is not over. We are on Tuesday. The Senate has finally agreed because they saw me post the picture of Chuck Schumer on my Instagram with the word dick underneath it and him cooking the cheeseburger raw on his barbecue, because that's what he is. He's an asshole.
Yes,
a dick.
He's a dick.
Allegedly. I don't want to be sued for defaming him, but he is. He's a POS. I don't like him, and apparently his own Democratic Party is turning on him now, and we're going to get to that in a minute. But Matthew, the government shutdown, and we spoke about it, where you don't know there's a shutdown. Nobody feels it's a shutdown until you go and you fly on a plane, and this just started happening now, and I feel like they did it on purpose.
Yeah.
Or was it because these traffic controllers decided to, I'm not getting paid. I need to go work. I'm going to go become an Uber driver or DoorDash. Or work in a restaurant. I need to put food on my table. Because with a mortgage or a car payment, the banks are willing to work with you to push that payment off. But when it comes to food, there's only so much room you have on a credit card.
Well, so first, just talking about the government shutdown, right? So when it first started getting going, and we spoke about it, shutdown's kind of a misnomer because really large majority of the government is open and funded. They can't not fund it because it's non-discretionary. Then you have departments, and there's no clear guidelines as to each department has to set up its own protocols for how to fund when anything like this happens. There's no transparency, which I feel like is all part of the design. Ultimately, when you look at what the budget is, what they have to play with, and what's up for disagreement, it's minimal. It's completely immaterial. These people don't give a shit about spending money. Like you're literally talking about tens of billions of dollars, which to them is, it's a drop in the bucket. They don't give a shit. So these things are campaign commercials, right? The way that we've set it up now for I don't know how long is they can't, they can't, they have no incentive to agree upon anything until they come to these. And so they came up with these continuing resolutions, and it's like these stopgaps. So they get these extra campaign seasons. They used to just have to wait until they were running for something. Now it's like they also get the threat of the debt ceiling or the continuing resolution. And it's like, so I guess this time around, to your point, like it happened at first, it couldn't kick the Israel thing off of the front page. Stock market didn't give a shit. Other than I suppose at that time, some parks being closed or people being furloughed, there wasn't really a front news story that gained traction. Holiday travel right around the corner, people getting stuck in Dallas for 3 days, people start to care, and that becomes a story that you can get a lot of anecdotes, you can get cameras in front of people. I mean, you saw those things being shared, like the crowds and everything. I don't know where that was from, but it becomes front page.
Right. All the TSA, the people waiting in line, and then when you start cancellations of flights, then people start talking.
And then politicians have to, take action.
Right. My idea was, and I told the pilot this, I said, it would be great if they could shut down airspace all around D.C. You don't have the politicians leaving. You don't have them coming and going. You heard about...
They're not doing anything anyway.
Well, no, but you had one of these senators, they were trying to do the vote on Sunday, and they're like, we can't find the one Democrat that's supposed to vote with us. And they're like, yeah, his plane's delayed. Why are you leaving? You stay in D.C. until we get a deal.
I don't even know, like, the air traffic stuff sounds like it's been a real systemic issue for a long time and just kind of more the result of bureaucracy and kind of your common DC stuff that's not helped by this shutdown. And maybe it's a good, I would say it's definitely a good piece to use in terms of the negotiation and and the narrative control for on the shutdown. Whoever the people stranded at Dallas believe are the ones to blame, that party has to act, right? Because that's real anger. When you're delayed on the runway, that's when it starts to be tangible. Right.
And so like they already approved this big beautiful bill months ago. And when this CR came in, and that's basically, it's just continuing to negotiate later on.
Yeah, they said we'll just talk about it in a couple months.
Talk about it, but they wanted to keep the SNAP benefits in for all these people that most of the people on SNAP are illegals. There was like 1,000 known terrorists getting SNAP benefits, which is insane to me. Some of these people getting SNAP they're able to work, but they just sit around collecting. There was one guy who came out on TikTok and is like, "Oh, you people better go back to I need my money. I need my SNAP. I need my SNAP. I'm not sitting around here not doing nothing for no reason. Like you have a family, and you're able to work. Go work. Go do something. Why are you collecting money and you're able to work? You're not disabled. You're not a vet. Go work." And actually, today, the Trump administration came out and said that SNAP recipients must prove that they are trying to get a job. That they're trying to get a job. Doesn't mean that if they can't get a job, it's understandable. They get this. But they have to prove that they're trying to get a job. And I think that's good. If you're trying to get a job, and you could prove, look, I'm trying to get a job, but unfortunately no one's hiring me, then yes, that's okay. You could get it. But not to try for a job and just sit there. Like, I had employees that quit, Matthew. They quit.
Yeah.
Not that I fired them. They just never showed up to work and they got unemployment. And when I turn around and you fight it because I pay unemployment insurance and then my premium goes up, and I say, hey, this person quit, or this person basically never showed up to work, I had to fire them. They're still collecting unemployment insurance. They're not going out there and looking for another job. They're just collecting. They're getting the SNAP benefits. They're getting the unemployment insurance. They're not looking for another job. Why? Why would they go look for another job when they get all these benefits coming to them? When you and I are sitting there paying taxes, paying insurance premiums for a failed Obamacare that the Democrats put in, and we know that Obamacare is failed. And I don't care what anybody says about people getting Obamacare and it's beneficial. Since Obamacare came in, our premiums, and I'm not saying my premiums, saying everyone's premiums, and you go talk to whoever you want to go talk to who pays insurance, not the person who takes insurance, who pays insurance, those premiums have gone up. Your insurance costs have gone up. All Medicare has gone up. And who's benefiting from Obamacare? And why are they fighting? It's because the insurance companies benefit. The medical professions benefit because everybody increased the money. Obamacare.
Well, the subsidies, they sorry to cut you off, but the subsidies had an expiration date on them, and that was
Right,
one of the
the
sticking
subsidies-
points here.
Exactly. But what do the subsidies give? What do they give?
Well, it's bullshit. It's a tax. I mean, it's just more taxes.
It's more taxes.
So
More cost.
part of the so they look. I mean, it's all bullshit, right? I mean, they ended up and when they wrote in, it was the Democrats that wrote in the sunsets on those subsidies, right? So they knew this was coming, this fight, and so then, so look. I'm sorry to cut you up, but it's just these people. It's all bullshit, and they're campaigning, and now Schumer's in trouble, like you said, because if AOC decides she wants his Senate seat, he's gone.
So Ro Khanna from California, Ro Khanna. So he comes out and he was given an interview today, and he said, "We need new leaders. If you've been in office for over 20 years, you shouldn't be leading the future of the Democratic Party." Someone said to me, well, this backbencher from the House is calling for Schumer to step down. And all my supporters started coming to my defense saying, Khanna's not a backbencher. He talks to Ben. He goes on the media. I said, no, I don't care. The point is, backbenchers need to come to the front. Those of us in the back, we need to move to the front, and a new generation of leadership needs to emerge. Now, I agree with Ro Khanna. We need term limits. We need age limits. And a lot of these people who have been in the Senate and Congress have been there for a long time. Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, you got Mitch McConnell, who's a fossil. You got
Dianne Feinstein still there?
I think she's dead.
Well, I think Mitch McConnell's dead too. But
well, yeah, I mean, they're parading him down. You got Jerry Nadler, who's a penguin. You got who's the other one? Maxine Waters, who's who knows how old she is. And you got all these people. They go in there. They've never worked a day in their life, and they're making decisions for the hardworking people of America. Forget about Republican. Forget about Democrat. We need term limits. We need age limits. And that's the bottom line, because otherwise we're going to keep doing this. But the Democrats, they have a serious issue right now, because Chuck Schumer was basically telling them, hey, don't vote. Don't vote. Let's continue. This is better for us. And they pushed it to the No Kings rally. They thought they were gonna get millions of people. I think like less than 1 million people showed up across the country. That didn't work. They said, okay, here's what we're gonna do. Let's wait for the elections. We need the elections. And they got their elections. They got a new governor in New Jersey, Democrat. They
won everywhere.
And Mamdani. Well, they didn't get everybody, but they got the three main people that they wanted.
The point is, Schumer is now, because the people that have the momentum in that party, the AOCs, the Mamdanis, the guy that wants the they, they wanted, they're saying that they shouldn't have caved, right? They're saying Schumer caved. And so if AOC wants,
The bigger issue is it kind of backfired because everything that's going on now, you have pilots getting on and telling the crew and all the passengers, hey, call your senator, call your senator, call your senator. And guess what? They're bombarded with phone calls, and people are pissed at them.
well, that's what I'm
Because
saying.
yeah, they're seeing like these people are screwing with me. I'm not getting paid to go to work. I'm not able to fly. I'm not getting my EBTs. I'm not getting my SNAP. I'm not getting my insurance. I'm screwed. And whose fault it is? Because yeah, it could be the Republicans' fault, but the Republicans are all saying, "Oh, we're voting. We're voting. We're
No, but
voting." And
that's the campaign,
That's the campaign.
right? So they're fighting for the narrative because, midterms are coming up. So
Yes.
it's who owns this shutdown was
Who
like
owns the
kind of the thing.
shutdown?
And it's a game of, who do they think? And then it would appear because it's it was described. I think that the Republicans, despite the recent election, I think the Republicans were viewed as not the responsible party for the shutdown. I don't think the shutdown is what fueled those elections.
Well, no. Again, they voted on it. It passed, and this was just the CR. So
No, I get it. I'm
keep it going, keep it going, keep it going, keep it going. They didn't want to keep it going. They thought this was a great advantage. And then you have the senators going on TV, and even the fat guy, the governor of Pritzker from Chicago, and he says, "Oh, we could have kept this going. It benefits us. It benefits us. Benefits who? Benefits the politicians. They don't care about the people. They're not. They don't.
They don't have to look. I mean, talk about Obamacare. The one class of people that were exempt from having to enroll in Obamacare, people that passed it, Congress.
Right. And if you remember, if you
No,
didn't
but
have insurance, you had to pay a fine.
Well, no, that's the tax. They didn't, but you had to, and they didn't have to, they didn't have to follow it.
And is it fair that illegals and these people get all these benefits?
I mean, that's where all of this stuff. But yeah, look, I think it's pretty nuts. I really wasn't until I was told that it was ending. I didn't even it wasn't in the top 6 things or 10 things or 15 things going on in my head about the shutdown.
So where we are now is the
Thank
Senate.
God I'm not on Snap or but
Right. So today is Veterans Day. Thank you to all those who have served for our country. We do appreciate you. We do support the veterans, and I wish the country would support more veterans and not illegals. We
yes.
need to do more for the veterans, but
Newsom's going down to Brazil, but yeah.
and yeah, whatever. Screw Newsom. Anyway, the Senate did vote. They did pass it, but because today is Veterans Day, nobody's working. These people are not working, and they're going to vote. It goes back to the House. The House votes tomorrow. Hopefully, everything is hunky-dory tomorrow, and there's no more shutdown. But I have breaking news, Matthew. I told you I got something. I got breaking news. Breaking news. Breaking news. Okay. President Donald Trump came out right before we started taping this, and he said, many in the fake news media have claimed, and this goes back to our, the flying things and kind of, there should be a weight limit. You got weight limits for your bags. They should have weight limits for people. I know that's not very good, but if I'm flying with a bag and they're like, oh, your carry-on bag is too much, but then there's like a 400-pound fat person sitting there, my bag should be able to go. There's nothing, Anyway, President Donald Trump. Many in the fake news media have claimed that we will begin denying visas to overweight people. They have even come up with
thing.
Let me finish. They have even come up with a term for these people: high-calorie humans. This is totally false. We will not ban all fat people from entering our great country. Only those whose poor health will overburden our healthcare system. Visa applicants who are only slightly overweight have nothing to worry about. The bigger ones will need to trim down to get approved. We will expand this rule to cover expats in the near future. Rosie, you will never return to this great
No way. Did he
country.
really call her out?
Thank you for your attention to this matter.
Did he really say Rosie?
Yes,
That's awesome.
the Trump administration directive will prohibit certain high-calorie humans from
High-calorie.
obtaining visas. Not fat people, high-calorie people. And I think, you know what? I think he's got a good point there, because these people come here. Listen, when we go to Europe or we go to some countries, I remember when I was going to Russia at one point, before sanctions, you had to get insurance and you had to prove that you were able to take care of healthcare. If you go to France or Europe and you're going for a long period of time, they require you to carry insurance. If you're getting a visa, they want you to show insurance. They want you to show that you're providing. Why can't we do the same thing here in the United States?
Because we have one of the major political parties is going the other way on that. They want to offer free health coverage to everybody that comes.
Well, free health coverage. Again, why are these people getting SNAP 40% heavier than people who aren't getting SNAP? They should be dieting. They should be fasting. They should get in shape, eat less. So what do you think? Do you think Trump do you think he has a good point here?
Well, he's got a great point. Rosie O'Donnell shouldn't be allowed back into the country, hopefully.
Even if she slims down, she shouldn't be allowed back in.
No, high asshole content humans. What is it? High calorie people?
High calorie humans.
Look, we don't need any more fat people. Or he's saying fat people can come. No, he's saying if they're not too fat.
Not too fat.
It goes to the whole pre-existing conditions too. I don't know. I think the heart of the issue is that immigration is great, but when you have a welfare state, it just starts to get very unfair.
Now, some are going to say, Matthew,
yeah,
Trump shouldn't be talking. He's a little overweight himself. He's eating McDonald's.
That guy eats, yeah.
You know, maybe he shouldn't be saying that. You know, I don't know.
I mean, but he's a citizen.
But he's a citizen, right? Exactly. He's a citizen, but, you know.
Could be a Russian spy, but.
Maybe he could be, but yeah. And speaking of McDonald's, I just got a text message.
Yeah.
That the McRib has come back.
Really? I never had the McRib.
Historically.
I never really went outside of the box in McDonald's. I had a 20-piece McNugget. I would get 3 sweet and sour sauces, 2 barbecue sauces, supersized fries, and a medium Coke. That was my order.
Okay, so I had the same thing, except I had 2 cheeseburgers.
With the...
Yeah, and that's why I was that's why I blew up, and I've been getting off that weight.
3 times a week for lunch in high school, I would get that 20-piece. And because I'm sitting there with a 20-piece, like one of my boys would be like, can I get a nugget? And I'm sitting here with 20. So I have to give... Like, if Rudy's like, hey, let me get a nugget, I can't sit there with 20 and be like, you can't have one. So I'd give you one, and I'd give out a couple. But I loved the nuggets, especially the ones that looked like the feet, Like
because they probably were really feet.
Right. They're coming out with like 100-piece?
No, I've never had that. Though they're coming out. That's maybe, I don't know, but God only knows what's in these chicken nuggets and everything. I haven't had fast food like Burger King, McDonald's, or KFC in, I think, 13 years.
I hadn't had it in a very long time. I had some nuggets a year ago. They went fast.
I'm sure. But Matthew, when the
when
McDonald's McRib has come back for the seasonal, historically every McRib comeback since 2020, which has only been 5 years, has marked a Bitcoin rally.
Okay.
So
been losing my ass on that XRP.
Buy the dip. Yeah, I know. XRP. That's for a different topic, a different day. We will get into XRP later, and I have a theory about it. It's at 240. You bought it at what? 280, 285. 285. Yeah. Anyway. Oh. Last topic. I know we've been rambling on for quite some time. We had an election. Zohran Mamdani, the commie, the Marxist, the socialist, won while we were gone. But I would like to bring your attention to something that you brought up that you seem to be right on.
Ooh, what's that?
Laura Loomer today posted
Yeah. Yes.
Andrew Cuomo's top aide, Melissa DeRosa,
Yes.
confirms, this is coming from Andrew Cuomo's,
Yeah.
sorry, something else just popped up that got me. This is coming from Andrew Cuomo's top aide. Melissa DeRosa confirms that Cuomo only ran for mayor of NYC to help Zohran Mamdani win with the perception of some competition, so it wasn't a landslide. In July, Laura Loomer posted evidence that showed how Andrew Cuomo's consultants were Mamdani's consultants. She said it appeared as though Andrew Cuomo was running for mayor of NYC to help Zohran Mamdani win. And today we know exactly what he did. Cuomo advisor Melissa DeRosa just did an interview with Errol Louise and said Cuomo only stayed in the race because his campaign wanted to look like Mamdani wouldn't win in a landslide, even though they always knew he would win. Laura Loomer continues, I always said Cuomo was running to help Mamdani, and I always knew this was the case. When I discovered that Cuomo's PAC was paying Mamdani's consultants, if you voted for Cuomo, you voted for Mamdani. Don't say I didn't warn you. And here, and her post from July is below, where she breaks down how pro-Cuomo independent spending entity Fix the New York NYC claims it opposed Zohran Mamdani. NYC campaign has paid nearly $750,000 to a Democratic consultant firm named Actum LLC, where Mamdani's Obama-tied communications director, political firm, consulting firm Lerner, is currently listed as the managing director of Actum. Hold on a second. Sorry. Jeffrey Lerner, a veteran Democratic operative, has held key roles in the U.S. politics. He served as Southern political director in Obama White House 29 to 2011 and as DNC's political director for Obama 2012 re-election, managing voter outreach and campaign. He was a senior aide to California Senator LaFuza Butler, 2023-2024, advising on political strategy. Currently, LaFuza Butler is a partner at Actum. The whole website goes on. Actum is the second largest vendor for Fix the City NY.
Yeah, but as of when did they say that they were acting knowing that they were going to lose or whatever?
Hold on. I'm going on and on and on. I'm reading. And it says, Mamdani's campaign Lerner financial relationship with the two opposing candidates creates a conflict of interest that any basic vendor contract at any serious consulting firm would strictly prohibit. This contradiction demands a further scrutiny to ensure the transparency and integrity within the independent spending entity and for the sake of election integrity in the mayoral race. Andrew Cuomo trying to pull a fast one by pretending to be an opponent. This goes back to July. So this apparently happened after the primary.
Well, it was always, I mean, look, my whole thing was that the day after Cuomo lost the primary to Zohran, the conventional wisdom, because, you know, the whole media, everybody said, well, Cuomo was the only rational choice, despite that he had just lost. You know, I thought we said on here, and I said, you know, back then, instead of staying neutral, Trump, you know, Cuomo was fishy to me. I think they should have, I think Adams probably had I would have backed Adams and used all my resources, you know, the media to frame a narrative around Adams, which they, you know, I mean, the media just created out of thin air that Cuomo had some kind of shot. He got his ass kicked, and then the next day they said, you know, Cuomo's the only guy to run. And, you know, I think I'm not surprised by, look, I mean, Cuomo is a very unpopular guy. And they framed him as something he wasn't during this race, you know. But it looks like Zohran took it pretty quick. It was like 6 minutes after the polls closed, they announced it, right?
Absolutely. I mean, Look, Polymarket got it right.
Yeah, and that's another thing, right? So I bet, and we talked about that. I bet on Kalshi, and it's interesting because it's not really for these local elections, especially. There's no visibility into how many of the people betting are actually able to vote, or even American. You know, they started pushing the Kalshi. They pushed the Kalshi, the Polymarket data, so hard now, and it's universally accepted as like this is the right. You know, this is the definitive. This is better than polling because there's money involved. When there's very clear reasons why it's actually shouldn't be the real indicator in a lot of ways. Polling is I guess they figured out that the polling is not helpful to them anymore because anybody can dismiss a poll. I've never been polled. I don't know anybody that's been polled. I don't know anybody that knows anybody that's been polled. And when you say like the smart money stuff like that, it gets people. So they were very heavy. I mean, the day of the election in Times Square, they had the NASDAQ was displaying the Polymarket Kalshi ads that it was 98% too. I mean, so that has effect. And he took it, and
Yeah. So we got bamboozled.
New York's gonna get it.
New York's gonna get it. All right. Well, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you again for tuning in. Again, citizenoutbreak.com. Buy the game. Tell your friends.
YouTube, Instagram, Spotify, iTunes.
Make comments.
Subscribe.
Give us a good rating on iTunes, podcasts, and Spotify. The higher, give us 5 stars. If you don't, give us 1 star. I don't really care. There was one guy who gave us a comment, very bad comment the other day.
Where?
His name is Chris Massey. He gave us a bad comment.
Did he really? Who's Chris Massey?
Yeah, he's this guy. I don't know. I think he has it out.
Commented?
I think he has it out for you, Matthew. I think he doesn't. I think he has it. Yeah, so he gave us a comment. You know who you are, Chris Massey. I know you're listening. If you made it this far, you know who you are. All right, on that note, thank you very much for tuning in to Citizen Outbreak, and we will see you next week.
Good night, Butcher.
Good night.